Aristotle was born in 384 BCE in the small coastal town of Stagira in northern Greece. His father, Nicomachus, served as a physician in the court of King Amyntas, the third of Macedon. This early exposure to medicine and natural sciences would significantly influence Aristotle's intellectual pursuits. Orphaned at a young age, he moved to Athens at the age of 17 to study at Plato's academy, where he would spend the next 20 years immersed in philosophical discourse. At the academy, Aristotle encountered the teachings of Plato, who was the foremost philosopher of the time. He was deeply influenced by Plato's ideas, particularly regarding forms and the nature of reality. However, despite his admiration for Plato, Aristotle began to develop his own philosophical perspectives, which often diverged sharply from those of his mentor. While Plato emphasized abstract ideals, Aristotle focused on the empirical world, advocating for a philosophy grounded in observation and experience. After Plato's death in 347 BCE, Aristotle departed from Athens. He spent time traveling and studying in various regions, including Asia Minor and the island of Lesbos, where he conducted extensive research in biology and natural sciences. During this period, he made significant contributions to the study of zoology, categorizing and classifying different species based on their physical characteristics and behaviors. This empirical approach to studying nature would later form the backbone of his scientific method. In 343 BCE, Aristotle was summoned to the court of King Philip II of Macedon to tutor his son, Alexander. This role not only provided Aristotle with the opportunity to influence one of history's most renowned figures, but also gave him unique insights into the dynamics of power and leadership. Aristotle imparted lessons on ethics, politics, and the importance of virtue, all of which would shape Alexander's worldview and decisions as a ruler. After a few years in Macedonia, Aristotle returned to Athens in 335 BCE, where he established his own school, the Lyceum. This institution became a hub for scholarly activity, where Aristotle taught a diverse range of subjects including logic, ethics, politics, metaphysics, and natural sciences. His approach to teaching emphasized empirical observation and systematic classification, marking a departure from the more abstract methodologies favored by Plato. During his time at the Lyceum, Aristotle produced a remarkable body of work, much of which has survived to this day. One of his most significant contributions is Nicomachean Ethics, a foundational text in Western moral philosophy. In it, Aristotle explores the concept of virtue, arguing that the good life is achieved through the cultivation of moral character and the pursuit of happiness, which he defines as an activity of the soul aligned with virtue. He emphasizes the importance of moderation, famously advocating for the golden mean, the idea that virtue lies between extremes. In politics, Aristotle examines various forms of government, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses. He categorizes governments into three good forms: monarchy, aristocracy, and polity, and their corresponding corrupt forms: tyranny, oligarchy, and democracy. He argues for the importance of a balanced government that considers the interests of both the wealthy and the poor, advocating for a mixed government as the most stable and just. Aristotle's exploration of metaphysics culminated in his work, Metaphysics, where he investigates the nature of existence and reality. He introduces the concept of substance, asserting that individual entities are the fundamental building blocks of reality. Aristotle's emphasis on causality and his distinction between potentiality and actuality have had a lasting impact on philosophical thought. In addition to his philosophical inquiries, Aristotle was a pioneering biologist. His observations and classifications of plants and animals laid the groundwork for future biological studies. He meticulously documented the anatomy, behavior, and habitats of various species, earning him the title of the father of biology. Despite his many accomplishments, Aristotle's life was not without challenges. In 322 BCE, following the death of Alexander the Great, anti-Macedonian sentiment surged in Athens. As a prominent figure associated with the Macedonian court, Aristotle faced hostility from political adversaries. Fearing for his safety, he chose to flee to Chalcis on the island of Euboea. There, he continued his scholarly work until his death later that year at the age of 62. Aristotle's legacy is vast and multifaceted. His influence extends beyond philosophy into fields such as science, politics, and ethics. He established the foundations of logic through his work in syllogistic reasoning, which remained the dominant form of logical analysis for centuries. His empirical approach laid the groundwork for the scientific method, emphasizing observation and experimentation as essential components of inquiry.